All right. So this is going to be a first for me. All right. I mean, people have been talking to me for years about doing a podcast, because all my stories and all my friends I have, et cetera, right? So I'm going to try and tell this Tina Turner story and make you laugh and make you smile. And for those who were there that night, the 4,500 people that were at the Limelight that night in November 1985, you'll remember how cool that was. So I got my Dunkin' Donuts coffee. I'm all set. Everybody knows I'm the president of the Dunkin' Donuts Mafia, because I'm not a Starbucks dude. But so here's the deal. Yesterday, I was super sad to hear that story when Tina passed, because also yesterday was another special day for me on a personal level. So I was kind of having a double sad day. But I was kind of, when I was just reading the news feed, everyone just posting pictures of Tina. I mean, there's no question. People who know me know that, one, Whitney Houston and Tina Turner are my all-time favorites, along with Annie Lennox and Sade and Chrissy Hine and a few others, and female singers. And but Tina, with everything she had went through and all she had endured, and what she came out on the other end was, I mean, come on, she was the queen of, I called her the queen of rock and soul. Now, I know many of you who might watch this, all got your stories of rock and roll, hip hop, whatever, jazz, etc. But no one's got a story like this to tell when you're 24 years old, just turned 25 3 weeks earlier, okay? And you just don't. That's the truth. So July 1985, Limelight Chicago opens. 8,000 people in the streets trying to get in. I was blessed by my brother Russ Bernelli, who watches this and smiles. And I was blessed by my brother Russ, to be given the spot to run the VIP room of the Limelight, which was the biggest thing in Chicago, which changed the whole scope of nightlife in Chicago, in my opinion, and big respect to Joe Shanahan, for what he's been doing for 40-something years. But Limelight came, and we just, we didn't come in with that New York attitude. We just came in like having fun. So I was blessed by Russ to be given that key position upstairs, and that night, opening night, was forget about it. It was great. So July 1985, we opened the doors, and, we moved. I remember I worked like 90 days straight in a row, not one night off. I think Russ worked like 120 days straight in a row. And he'll probably correct me on this if I'm wrong. But it was just like, forget about it. And the best part about it was I had already been in Chicago for like a year and a half, and I had a juice bar on Rush Street, the Mars Bar, for 1 year before they shut us down with my Mars Bar boys, who I love like crazy, and Sheila Elizabeth, my sister, for almost 38 years. So right from Mars Bar, I was lucky to get to Limelight, and I was already working there 2 months prior to it opening. So we opened July, and things are happening, and we're just getting to know people, and everything's brand new, and we got an all-star team of people working there, and Russ is at the helm. We had a great front door crew. Melissa Brown was working at the front door at the time. Ari Schmeichel, who's got the TV show on HGTV. Some architectural cool thing he's doing. Big Ralphie, who owns like 4 Ace Hardwares today, construction company. Rick Kubik. We had a great crew at the front door. Bob Good. They're all good. Russ's guys. Pops later on, etc. But here's the deal. We're only open a couple months, and Tina Turner's on tour, and she's doing this, she's it. She's the big Kadu. She's the big thing. All the MTV Awards, Grammy Awards, American Music Awards, you name it. She's killing it that year, because 1985, it's her year. It's the year of Tina Turner. That year also, Steve Winwood was kind of rocking it. Robert Palmer was kind of rocking it. But it was all about Tina that year. No ifs, ands, or buts. Not the Stones. U2 was just starting out. They were just kind of on the scene, but they were nowhere near there. Because U2 and my favorite band, the Talking Heads, will always be my 2 favorite all-time bands. But Tina's my favorite female performer. So here's the story. So So the band is based out of the Ritz-Carlton for 2 weeks. Right? They're based out of the Ritz-Carlton. And every night they're flying to St. Paul, Milwaukee, Detroit, Midwest, Minnesota, wherever. And they'll come rolling in like 2 o'clock in the morning. So this is now in November. This is November, a couple months after we opened. I just had a big, humongous birthday party. I just turned 25 years old. I was 24 when we opened. I turned 25 October 18th. And I had like 1,000 people at my birthday, which was fantastic, like 3 weeks earlier. So I'm just a 25-year-old kid. So the boys in the band and the manager, not her actual manager, Roger Davies, but the tour manager, for the band, was a guy, Robin, someone who I can't think of, but I can see him right now in my face, and Kevin Lee, Miss Illinois, if you're watching, you know exactly who I'm talking about, right? So Robin, the tour manager, was the greatest, best guy ever, and I believe he was from Australia. So at 2 a.m, here comes Robin, here comes the drummer, here comes the big saxophone player, Tim, the guy James, the guitar player. They all just rolled in every night because they're all at the Ritz and they're bored and they just went online. So that 2 o'clock became 5 or 6 o'clock for me and Russ, of course, and there was a couple of others, But I'm 35 years clean and mean this July. Proud of that. So this goes on like 2 weeks now, right? Like, they roll in at 2 o'clock, the next day at 2 o'clock, the next day at 2 o'clock, so on, so on. All right. So what happens is they were on tour for 6 months straight, the whole tour, 6 months straight. And they only had 1 day off, 1 day with the roadies, everybody, the lighting guys, the set guys, where everyone would be off that night in Chicago, that one night in November. And it was coming close to Tina's birthday and all these awards that she had received and everything like that. But it was kind of getting close to Tina Turner's birthday in November. She's a Sagittarius. I know that. So what they wanted to do, out of respect to me and for us too, was like they wanted to have a party there for her, a party for her birthday and for just being on the road 6 months and 1 night off and, just like have a great time with everybody under one roof for 1 night, just 1 night, because then it's another 6-month tour. Then they're out for another 6 months before that tour ended, somewhere in Australia. So one thing led to another, and there's 2 wonderful young girls that many of my friends know who are like my sisters for 40 years, Lisa and Tara Dunlap, okay? So my sister Lisa Dunlap, and I refer to her as my sister because she's been like my sister for 40 years, and Tara Dunlap, they've been my sisters for like 40 years, along with 500 other sisters that I have and 500 brothers. So Lisa was working at the Ritz-Carlton where everybody was staying. So she became friends with the guys in the band in the daytime when they would go down for their coffee and lunch and whatever. So Robin called me up and said, listen, we're going to make this thing happen for you. We're going to make it happen. Get ready, and bring your sisters. I don't know if it was both or one, but bring your sisters and meet us at Meigs Field. Just get your butt to Meigs Field. Be there like at 5 o'clock, whatever it is. I'm like, what? So I'm like, okay. So I tell Lisa, I said, Lisa, get dressed up, honey. Get dressed because we got something really special. I got something beyond special for you for your birthday, okay? And I don't know if Tara was with us, but I know Lisa was for sure. So Tara, if you're watching, maybe you can write a comment. I don't know. But I think you came too. If not, it was probably just Lisa. I went and bought a dozen white roses. And Lisa thought they were for her. I said, no, these aren't for you. These are for a friend of ours. So long story short, we get to Meigs Field. There's a private jet there. And all of a sudden, like, 3 limos pull up, right? And out walk these Secret Service guys, because Tina had retired Secret Service guys working for her on her tour. That's how big she was, right? So these Secret Service guys get out, and the door opens up, and out pops Tina in the first limo, okay? And my sister Lisa just like freaks. She goes, what's going on? And she's like, well, I said, well, we're flying down to Champaign. We're flying from Chicago to Champaign, Illinois. We're going to go watch Tina Turner live tonight backstage for your birthday. She's like, what? And she's freaking out like, what? No way. She almost fainted right there on the tarmac. Okay. So all of a sudden, I just gave a wave, and then Robin gets out the next, he gets out with her. the tour manager, and then the next one is the band and security, and Arnie and Jerry were there from Jam. So we all get on this private jet. Tina gets on first, and then the band, I guess that was their protocol, they get on behind her, and she's sitting in the first seat right there up front by the pilot. And Lisa gets on, and she's like, Lisa's as tall as I am, she's like 5'11", 5'10", and I'm 6'1", so Lisa's a beautiful tall girl, and she's the biggest Tina Turner fan, like me. And she gives her the roses, and she's like, well, thank you. She says, you're a beautiful young lady, whatever she said to her, right? Now, back in the day, I had hair, kind of looked a little like Rod Stewart. That was my thing. I just looked like BJ Murray to me. So I get on the plane. Lisa's on the plane. We take off from Mixfield, going to Champaign. And, I'm talking to the fellas in the band. My sister's like freaking out. I'm talking to Jerry and Arnie, like blah, blah, blah. They're looking at me like, what's the story? What's going on, right? So Robin had already told all the guys in the band, we're going to get Tina to the Limelight the next night for her birthday party, her pre-birthday party, and to celebrate her and the tour and all her awards and everything. So, we're on the flight, we're headed to Champaign, and then all of a sudden, now it was the first time I've been on a small private jet, so I was already freaking out anyway, because I don't like to fly. I mean, I didn't like to fly back then, but I'm freaking out because it's a little private jet. But we're flying down, and out of nowhere, like right out of scene out of Almost Famous, and I mean really like out of nowhere, turbulence. We're just jumping up and down. I'm like screaming, oh my God, dude, we're gonna die. I'm like, what the freak? I mean, the turbulence was terrible. Right out of scene like the movie Almost Famous. Okay, so everyone was really, I'm telling you, everyone was about as white as those roses on her lap. I'm not lying to you. And I'm like, shit, man. I'm back there cursing. And I'm like, this is not how I want to go out. I just turned 25 years old. And the dudes in the band, they were, you can see they were nervous too, even though they've done this many times. We just caused some serious bad turbulence. So Tina, she stands up and she says, boys, I guess we're going to be gigging in heaven tonight. And I'm like, no, don't say that. No. I'm like, so everyone's freaking out, man. We're like tripping. This is a true story. I'm not making this up. This is why I can't even write this story, because it'd be like 3 pages long on Facebook. So she sits down. With God's grace, we pull out of that for like 5-6 minutes. We pull out of that, and we get to Champaign. She gets there first, so on. So this is where the fun and games start. So I already knew that we were going to talk to her and try to talk her into coming to Limelight that next night and have a big party for her and celebrate her birthday maybe a week before her birthday. And also the fact that she was very dear friends with Peter Gatien from the Atlanta Limelight back in 82 and 83 when he was booking her there, when she was just getting over all that terrible stuff with Ike and all that, So Peter and Tina, there'll be a picture I'm going to post again below that Richard Knight sent me, that Richard Knight posted yesterday. Thanks for that one, Richard Knight. I'm going to post 2 pictures under this video, if this even goes through. And you can see this is the first time in my life. It's the first time, and Russ and Richard and anyone who ever worked at Limelight will agree. Duty, Melissa Brown, if they're seeing this, you used to see Peter laughing with her. It's the greatest shot of Peter Gatien laughing, because I never saw Peter laugh like that. Like, I never even saw Peter laugh for like 2 years I worked for him. And Russ had worked with him much longer, and he probably never saw him laugh like that in 6 years, But the two of them were like this. So we get down to the gig, so we get down to the Champaign and at the university there, and what happens? So Robin and the boys in the band bring me into the dressing room with Tina and her assistant and her wardrobe girl, right? And it was funny. So they said, Tina, here's the deal. This is BJ Murray, and he works at the Limelight, and he works for Peter Gatien, who I think something like that. And he goes, the boys and I want to have a big party tomorrow night for everybody in the tour, to have a great fun night tomorrow night, but mostly for you, for your birthday, which is coming up, et cetera, et cetera. And we've been having a lot of fun with BJ, a lot of fun, and Russ. And, and we just want you to know that, you know, if you say no, we're not playing for you tonight. And I'm like, I'm like, what? So I'm looking, I'm like, no, what do you say? He goes, so we just want you to know that. So he says to her, right, boy? And Robin tells the guys, right, guys? Yeah, that's right, Tina. You know, if you don't show up tomorrow, we're not going to play for you tonight, blah, blah, blah. They were like joking with her, right? But Tina was so brilliant. It was great. She was super great. So she stands up, and she's only like 5 foot tall, right? I mean, believe me, she's like her and Sade and Prince. They're all the same height, like 5'1", 5'2", whatever. So she stands up and she says, Dolores or Deidre, whoever her sister was, well, Dolores, get on the phone and find me a really good local band because you're all fired. And I'm like, whoa. And she goes, yep, you're all fired. And Deidre, get me a band because I'm going on stage with a new band tonight and blah, 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 blah. So she's just like deadpan serious, like really serious. And I'm like, no, ma'am, it's okay. Mrs. Turner, no, it's all right. No, don't go, don't. And I thought she was like she was like deadpan serious, right? Only to find out she was messing with them, right? So they all walk out the room. They're like, wait, is she serious? Is she serious? So I'm laughing. I'm like, I mean, I wasn't laughing because I felt terrible. I said, I felt like I triggered that. I said, no, Robin, you got to go back in there. Forget the party, man. You guys can't lose your gig. You can't lose your gig with her. You got like 6 more months to play with her. So he goes, so anyway, we're standing outside in the hallway, and the big sax player, Tim, the guy who plays sax on Beyond Thunderdome and all that, you know, he played for. He's like, "What the hell, man? I can't lose my job." I'm laughing because I remember this like it was yesterday. So her assistant comes outside and says, "Robin, come here and bring that young fella with you." So I come back into the room with her. Right? I come in with Robin, the manager, and she says, "Robin," she says to me, "B.J. Murray," and she's verbatim, B.J. Murray. She goes, "I finally get to meet the infamous B.J. Murray who I've been hearing all about for the last 2 weeks on my tour." And she goes, "Son, you look like a handsome young Rod Stewart." I said, "Well, thank you, ma'am." I said, "And Mrs. Turner, there's no need to come tomorrow. I don't want these guys losing their jobs." She goes, No. She goes, "Hold on, son." And I goes, "Yeah." And she goes, "Robin, here's the deal." She goes, "This is what we're going to do." She goes, "You guys all have your jobs. You're all going to play. Then I'll think about firing you I'll think about firing you guys after the party." So when she said after the party, my heart just went boom, 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 boom. Because I was ready to call, no cell phones back then. I had to use the payphone to call the club. So she says, "BJ, do me a big favor." I said, "You let Peter Gatien know that I will never forget what he did for me in Atlanta back, a couple years back when I was just coming up, and just let Peter Gatien know that I will show up for 1 hour. Okay, I'll stop by for 1 hour because I don't leave my hotel room. I don't go anywhere. I don't go to a restaurant. I just go back to my hotel room. I'm a vegan." And that was the first time I ever heard the word vegan, like 38 years ago. I didn't even know what that was. I was like, what's that? I thought it was like maybe a new brand of weed or something like that. No, she just said she's a vegan. And she said, "I will be there for 1 hour. And I just want to thank Peter Gatien very, very much for what he did for me back in Atlanta when she was coming back as Tina Turner, as by herself." And that's where Roger Davies, I think, saw her either in Atlanta or maybe in a club in Canada. That's her manager. Robin was her tour manager. So I'm like, "What?" She goes, "I will be there, and you can let Peter Gatien know." So I'm like, yes. I go outside and tell the guys, yes, you guys, we're doing the party. I call the club. I let Russ know. Russ gets the cater on. We got, everything set. The art department, and big love to the art department, to Mikey Allen and Jimmy Heaven up there, and along with Will Northerner and whoever else was working in the art department at that time. They redid the whole entire VIP room in like this black and white amoeba looking thing, which looked super cool, just for her. And then we had like French waiters, but we also got a vegan chef to come in. I remember this. We got the vegan chef to make vegan food for her. So of course We didn't even have cell phones or nothing like that, but the word spread like wildfire. Tina's coming, all over every radio station. Murphy in the Morning, my good buddy Murphy, B96, whatever stations were happening, it just went like wildfire. The news, CBS, Fox News, everybody. Next thing you know, the next night, 4,500 people outside Limelight. 4,500 people in one day. Amazing, right? And I'm running the show. So the whole entire second floor that night, the whole entire second floor of the Limelight was the VIP room. It was the whole VIP room. And I had like 5, 6 security guys working up there with me because everyone and their mother and every one of my friends was trying. But it was really set aside for everyone in the, you know, everyone who had badges from the, with the band. And, you know, her security, whatever, the chefs, the servers, whatever it was. But we had, I mean, it was fantastic. Now, there's 2 pictures that's going to follow below this video of Peter and Tina. And when you see this, them smiling, you can see the good friends that they were. So what turned out to be 1 hour actually turned out to be 4, maybe 5 hours, if I'm right, Russ. And she stayed all night, and she had a great, great time. And the guys in the band had a great, great time. And everyone who was there that night had a great, great time. And for me, just being 24, 25 years old, it was a major Mondo feather in my cap in, you know, at the club, just being open a couple months. So the part 2 of the story, it gets better. So she leaves, the place is rocking. We got a big, big night. People are talking about Tina for, you know, days and weeks, all of it, you know. Of course, I give my hats off and my kudos to the whole entire Limelight staff, all of security, all the bartenders that night, the bus boys, you know, the barbacks, security, the DJ, whoever was DJ, maybe Jeff Pazin or Joe Smooth or Bobby Shea, whoever was on duty that night. But, you know, we made it happen. Peter flew in from New York that day. And it was, for me, forget about it. Like just for a poor kid from the streets of Spanish Harlem, West Harlem, you know, hello. This was like the ultimate. And, you know, I got Tina there. I delivered the goods. You know, I don't even think, but I don't think Peter paid me any bonus for that one. I don't think so, right, Russ? So nonetheless, the part 2 of the story is this. And again, big kudos and thanks to everyone that made that happen. The art department, Mikey Allen, Jim Harmon, Will Northerner, I think maybe Shane Swank was there, Richard Knight, Duty, Melissa Brown, you know, whoever was Don McKay, the assistant manager, everyone involved, the daytime crew, everyone, right? So, the boys kept coming in for a couple more nights, and that was cool. And when they left town to do their West Coast thing, about 2 weeks later, I get a call from my buddy Robin, the manager, who was now dating a friend of mine at the time, kind of on and off, who's probably going to watch this, my friend Karen Lee, who was Miss Illinois in 1986, and then again in 1996. My dear friend, beautiful woman, inside and out. And Robin calls me up and says to me that the boys in the band want to invite me out to LA for round-trip ticket paid for 3 nights at the Hollywood Bowl, backstage, hanging out with the boys. I just needed a place to stay, and I had a place to stay. And that was my kind of belated birthday gift and thank you gift from them. And I'm like, hello. So I'm like, it didn't even take me 10 seconds to say, I'll be there. So I'm out in LA, and I go out to the Hollywood Bowl, and I'm backstage every night, and, you know, forget about it. Backstage every night, it was like celebrities who. I mean, Stallone, you know, Rod Stewart, you know, Mick Jagger, Jack Nicholson, Joni Mitchell, Eddie Murphy. I mean, every night, like, you know, Diane Cannon. I mean, Warren Beatty, Carly Simon. I mean, everybody that was somebody. John Travolta. Everyone that was someone in Hollywood was backstage those 3 nights when she did the Hollywood Bowl. And again, if I had a cell phone camera, forget it back then, I would have had some of the best photos ever. And I've got a pretty good collection now, but I would have had some really great photos then. So, to summarize it all up, the best part of it all was that they offered me a job on the tour, but the tour was kind of winding down in like PR, working with the sponsor, which was Pepsi Cola. I think it was Pepsi that was sponsoring the tour. Pepsi did the Michael Jackson thing, and so they offered me a spot on that, you know, but the tour only had like 3 more months to go. And I'm like, well, the Limelight's only, 4 months open. So there's going to be more fun opportunities like this coming, which there were plenty, with John Hughes and the Untouchables and, on and on. And, Thompson Twins and you name it, we did it, so Duran Duran and the Bears and MJ, my boy, Jordan, everybody. So, but they actually offered me a job on the tour. And that was a really, really tough thing for me to say no to, because I'm thinking like, man, this would be fun to do 3 months with Tina Turner. But I turned it down and came back home. And I asked Russ for a big raise. He said no, but we're still brothers 40 years later. Okay? So this is my story. That was too much to write. I hope that you guys get a kick out of it. And anyone that was in the club that night will remember how great that was and how special it was. And the fact she hung out for 4 or 5 hours and laughing with Peter and having a great time, for me, was the biggest thrill of all. And believe me, many of you who know me, I've met everybody. I've got, like I said, my podcast was going to be called BJ Murray and 1,000 Stories, which still might happen. I'm just looking for some sponsors once a week, a 90-minute show. I've been thinking about it for a while. But, but that night, because it was Tina Turner, and because of all that she had been through, and how she came back up on top and became a devout Buddhist, and, all of it, it was brilliant. Oh, and the best part is this. So, it's the first night I get to meet Oprah Winfrey. Right. I forgot all this. So, Oprah Winfrey was only she was only doing local ABC then. So, her producers were my good friends, Debbie DeMayo and Ellen Rackleton. And those who worked for Oprah or know Oprah know Debbie DeMayo and Ellen. They started with her from day one. I think Ellen was with her till the end. But Debbie DeMayo and brought Oprah upstairs. And I told her, and she wanted to meet her. I said, sweetheart, I'm sorry. I don't even know who you are. I mean, because I never watched daytime TV because I was sleeping all day. So I didn't even know who she was. But fast forward 4 months later, I'm doing the Oprah Winfrey Show. That was pretty funny. And another time again, like a year later. So she wanted to be, I said, sorry, ma'am, sweetheart, that's not going to happen. That's just not going to happen. And I think she remembered that when I saw on the show that morning a couple months later and gave me a little pun, But so she sat there nice. And of course, today they are best friends. And of course, if there's a memorial service of any kind, I know for certain that Oprah will be hosting it. And every major rock star, anybody huge, any current star today is going to want to sing or perform. And if they do it, I'm sure it's going to be very elegant and eloquent, because the queen of rock and soul, that's what she deserves. So there's that whole Oprah story, the Hollywood Bowl story, the flying down in the private jet story, the almost famous scene in the jet. My sister Lisa, if you watch this, I'm sure you remember that. You're probably going to be laughing your butt off. And Tara, I don't know if you were there, but that had to be one of the biggest things in my life. Even to this day, one of the coolest, most fun things ever, that I pulled off that caper in 24 hours with the help of the whole Limelight staff. Not, of course, but really mostly BJ Murray. So I hope I didn't bore you enough. I didn't think this was going on this long. And this is the first time I've ever done a video, because it's the only way I could do it. And I'm sitting with like I said, I was all set. I had my Dunkin' Donuts ready. And I just want to say peace and love to you all. And to everybody the last couple months who've been standing by my side with some stuff I'm going through. Blessings to you all. And to that someone out there, OLOHOS and 524. So on that note, I will sign off, and Godspeed home to the queen of rock and soul. And you could just imagine, you could only imagine the jam session they had up there last night and tonight for her. I mean, God bless her. We know she had been sick for a while, and in the end, she spent 37 years with that nice Swiss guy that they dated for 27 years. I think his name is Erwin, her husband. And then after 27 years of dating, they got married 10 years ago, 2013, and stayed together. And he was about 15 years younger than her. But I think that's the best part of it all is her love story. Her love story. So, peace and love to everybody. God bless Tina. Stay safe. And, every day is a blessing. Every day above ground is a blessing. Okay, I'm out of here. Bye. Limelight forever.